Hey there folks, it's Yosti here with your Wednesday strength session. Today guys, we will need our training bags. We'll need 2 of them. We'll need a nice sturdy chair and a broomstick. So grab those things together and get ready for what's coming up. Okay guys, we're going to get into our dynamic mobility. Grab your broomstick and just keep it handy because we're going to basically use this as part of our warm-up for different exercises. Just chuck it over to the side to begin with, and we're going to start out with some hip circles first. So just pushing out and around, nice big hip circles. Keeping the legs as straight as you can. Try and draw as big a circle as we can for 5 one way before we change direction. Moving right out and around, leaning into the front. Exploring those end ranges for 5 one way, 5 the other. Once you finish that one, grab your good old broomstick. We're going to grab the ends of the broomstick, ideally in the thumb and that forefinger. From there, we're going to take it over the top to touch the backside and then bring it back into the front of the hip. Basically working some shoulder circles. The closer your hands are together, the harder the stretch, or the more intense that stretch. So just feel it out, find what distance between the hands works best for you. We're doing a set of 10 here. So once we finish our 10, place that broomstick on the shoulders like we're doing a squat, and we're going to turn and pivot one way, turn and pivot the other. So I'm turning on my feet. Don't just lock those feet in and turn. We're going to turn all the way. Keeping that body as upright as we can, just focusing on turning around a central axis point, rotating from side to side, working for a set of 10 with our broomstick rotations. Then place that stick back down on the ground, and then we're straight into some windmills next. So nice wide stance, reaching down to touch the foot, pushing back into the hips. Focusing on a nice hinge through the hips. So sideways on, as we go, we're pushing back. We're not just reaching down to touch, rounding the back, chest up, nice strong line head to hip as I go back, reaching down. We're going for a set of 20, 10 per side with our windmills. Nice and steady as we go. Once we hit that final rep, we're going to move down to the ground. So I'm just going to move this over a touch. Moving into the high plank position, we're going to work into a bit of a combo move with our downward dog. So hands basically in line with the shoulders, feet around about shoulder width. We push back, hold for 2 seconds, trying to get the chest down, pushing back through the palms, heels down, then reset, then step through, rock back, and then change, push back, then step through on the other side, rock back. So every time we go back, driving in, holding 2 seconds, reset, nice big step, roll onto the heel, trying to straighten that front leg as best we can, pushing back, reset, step and rock. Working for a set of 10, or it's going to be 5 per leg, but it's going to be 10 total for that one. Once we finish that one, we're going to move into rotation reaches. So just widen your foot position, reach and point to the sky, holding those hips steady. So be active through the middle, through the legs, so we're not just turning and twisting. Nice straight legs, keep those hips square to the floor, working for a set of 20 reps, 10 per side. When we finish those reps, we're going to move into a hip bridge. So just rolling onto our back, setting ourselves up, tucking the heels in, elevate the toes, palms up. Pushing those heels into the floor as I lift up nice and high. Working for a set of 20 reps. You really want to try to get that bum squeeze at the top. Hold for a second as I lift before I come back down again. When I hit that 20th rep, we're just going to move onto our front, onto all fours, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Lock in nice and tight as we push and extend in opposite directions. Working good old bird dog. As I push back, with my foot. Remember, we don't want to point the toes. We want to drive that heel straight back. Left hand, right foot, right hand, left foot as I go. Nice and steady. Trying to create that separation between the hand and the foot. Going for a set of 10 per side, 20 total, before we move into the high plank position. Now this is where we can use our good old stick for a little bit of extra feedback to let us know what our hips are doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move into the high plank position, placing that stick on my backside. Now my goal is to try to keep that nice and steady as I go. So to begin with, we're just going to reach up and touch the shoulder. Nice and steady for a set of 10 reps. Brace and hold. That stick, you want to try to make it so it doesn't move. The next one, guys, we're just doing a leg lift. So moving from one side to the other. Basically lifting that foot around about 2 inches from the floor. But as you notice, there's a little bit of movement with the broomstick on my back. I want to try to make sure that that stays put. Now, last of all, this one's the good old tough one. So widen that stance just a little bit. Try to keep that stick nice and steady. Left hand, right foot. Then, right hand, left foot. Nice and steady as I brace. Try to keep that stick on the back. We're working for a set of 5 per side, 10 total. Nice and steady as you go. Once you finish that one, that is the tough one. We're going to move it up into a standing position next. So what I'd like you to do is to place that stick. Basically use one hand up near the head, the other one down near the butt. You want to get those 3 points of contact. So the head touches, the middle of the upper back touches, and then the butt touches down the bottom. So we want to maintain those 3 points of contact. You want a nice hip width stance or shoulder width stance, pushing back, standing up tall. Maintain that strong line so we're not just rounding and losing those points of contact. Feel 3 points of contact, set of 10. As I bend and extend. Once I hit that last rep, we're going to move down to the ground. Moving into a good old hip lift, so moving into the bottom of the squat. From this position, place the hands, lift the backside nice and high, then sitting back down. Nice high lift, then sitting down nice and tall. Trying to get that butt down as close to the ground as possible, lifting the chest at the same time. Working for a set of 10 reps with our hip lift. Then we're going to move into a little combo move. So once I hit that 10th rep, just setting up into the top of the push-up. So from here, we're going to do a nice slow push-up to the ground. Nice and steady as I go, trying to get that chest to touch first. Then we can reset to the knees and control it all the way down, nice and steady. You want a good 3 seconds down for a set of 5 reps. Now for those that do struggle with it, just go from knees, nice and controlled down, pushing yourself back up again, cool? Otherwise, control, reset. Once you hit that 5th rep, then from there, moving to our feet for a set of 10 gorilla taps. So reaching down to touch the ground, standing up nice and tall, moving from side to side. Just be mindful when you do your gorilla taps. Don't just mindlessly reach to the ground. Push the hips back. Just like we're kind of performing a one-arm deadlift. Working for a set of 10. 3, 4 is how the count goes. Then it's back to our good old top-down push-ups. So we're just going to do 3 rounds. Top-down push-ups, set of 5. Gorilla taps for a set of 10. Cool? So 3 rounds, then we're going to get into a nice little activation set. In our activation set today, guys, we've got 3 exercises. We're going to be doing 5 reps of the first, 5 of the second, and 8 of the third. Now, what we got to begin with is a preload. Basically, this is what we do before we go do a jump in the air, or it's a great way to just really switch on the nervous system and get the muscles to fire, even though it may not look like much. Now guys, what we do with our preload is we reach up nice and high onto our tippy toes, and from there I basically drop like I'm doing a slam. Arms go back, and I basically drop myself down onto the heels and land in that bottom position. Now, as you probably see, nice strong line from head to heel as I do it. So reach up tall, drop. Reach up tall, just like we're slamming one of our dead balls. Cool? We throw the arms down and they move back. So then basically, if I was to do the full jump or do a vertical jump, I'd reach up tall onto the tippy toes, drop and spring. We use that preload to really put some elastic energy into our muscles, into that posterior chain to give us that boost to really allow us to jump nice and high in the air. This is also a great way to prep the posterior chain to get things to switch on. So nice and tall, hips go back, arms go back. Then we reach up tall again, back. You want to hold that bottom position for a second before we reach up, load. See how fast and soundlessly that you can move from that top position to the bottom position for 5 reps. Second exercise, guys, we're going to need one of our bags. You might want to take some weight out for this because this can be quite a challenging exercise. But what we've got is a tri press that we're doing for 5 reps. What I'd like you to do is to hold your bag on the chest. From here, we're going to press once up, then we're going to press out to the side, then out to the side. So we press nice and high, brace and hold, pivot on the feet, and press out nice and straight. This is why we kind of need a lighter bag than we normally work with, because as I press out, as I said, it can be quite challenging with a heavier weight. So just adjust the bag as you need as you go. Cool? So up, side, side is 1. You'll do 5 of those. Last in the set, we're going to be working a good morning. So you can basically bring that bag up onto the chest, hug it in nice and tight, and in a nice tall posture, hips go back, chest stays up. Not a lot of bending through the knees, bending lots through the hips. Basically trying to push the bum back to the wall behind us. Standing up nice and tall for a set of 8 reps with our good old good morning. Hopefully everyone's having a good morning anyway. Or maybe a good afternoon if you're doing this session in the Arvo. Cool? So once again, guys, we've got our pre-jump set of 5. We've got our tri-press for a set of 5. And then last of all, our good morning for a set of 8 reps. We want 3 rounds of that before we move into our strength set. For our strength set today, we're going to be using both of our bags and our good old broomstick. Now, what I'd like you to do is to put a couple of nice strong knots, if you haven't already, a couple of nice strong knots in your bags. Do them up really, really tight. Pull that knot all the way through before you tie that second knot, because we're going to feed our good old stick through the knot that we've created. So where that knot is, basically there's a bit of space underneath that knot, which is where we're going to go. We're not going to go through the handles because that just creates extra distance. So we're going to get nice and low on the bag this time. So what I'd like you to do is just underneath the knot, feed that stick or broomstick through both bags. Cool? So we're going to be working with both bags and we want that stick working all the way through. Now, we are going to be doing some sumo deadlifts today. So when we set up for our sumo, we go with a wider stance than usual, than our conventional. Conventional deadlift, we usually have our hands situated outside of the knees and the legs. With the sumo, the arms are situated inside those legs. Cool? So what we do is we basically step in, so then the bags are on the insides of my foot. I want to be standing right in close on those bags. Then I'm going to reach down for the stick in the middle. I'm going to pull those shoulder blades back, keeping that chest up, and then I'm going to stand up nice and tall, bending and extending through the hips, really making sure that those shoulders are locked on. So just remember, when you set up and you go to pick up, pull those shoulders into the body and then take a breath. So breathing wise, when we do our deadlifts, we want to breathe in at the bottom, breathe out at the top, breathe in again, breathe out. So as I'm moving, I want to be holding my breath. Cool? Guys, beginners, we're going to work 15 of our sumo deadlifts. Nice and steady. Now for our regular members, we're going to do something slightly different here. So keep those bags nice and close. We're going to go 5 normal sumo, locking in those shoulders. Then you're going to drop one hand out to the side. Stand up nice and tall, brace and pull that shoulder blade in. Working 5 and then 5. We've done this in class a few times with our kettlebells, where we go our sumo, our kettlebell deadlift, and then one arm and one arm. Just be mindful that when we're doing our one arm, you're gonna have to really pull that shoulder in because we don't want to twist. As I'm working one arm, it's not our shoulder being getting pulled into the front and our whole body twisting as I go. I want to make sure that I'm staying square to my hips. So really try to focus on that strong posture so then the weight of the bags doesn't basically rotate the body. So once again, as I'm working one arm, lock in, square, hips to shoulders. From there, I'm standing up tall and working that 5 reps, cool? So you'll go 2 hands, 5, 1 hand 5, 1 hand 5. Beginners, we're just working with the 2 hands for a set of 15, cool? Second exercise, guys, we're going to move down to the floor. We're working for a floor press. So what you want to do is you just want to unhook one bag from your stick. Then we're going to lie down on our back. Lying down onto the ground, we're going to tuck those heels in like we're going to do a hip bridge. And then we just grab our bag, placing our bag on the chest. We're going to press out off the chest, pressing out nice and tall, all the way out, bring it back down to the ground. Going for a set of 10 reps with our good old bag here. Now, for our advanced members or those that want a little bit of a challenge here, what I'd like you to do is basically keep one bag on your broomstick. Cool, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to pull that in. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to turn sideways on a little bit. You might be able to see what starts to happen here. But what we're doing is we're basically setting ourselves up, lying back, same thing. We're going to bring that bag right in close to the outside of my hand. Then, holding onto the stick in about a shoulder width, slightly wider than shoulder width grip. And from here, we're going to press out. Holding tight, you notice straight away the bag wobbles around, so we have to be active. Holding tight, lowering it down to the ground. Try to keep those elbows close to the body as I press out. Nice and steady as I go. Now, if you want, that feels kind of easy, push that bag further away. So the further away the bag is on the stick, you'll notice straight away, it gets harder the further it goes away and there's more wobble in it. So you're going to find that you're going to have to brace tighter through the middle because it's going to want to tip you over. You're going to have to push your heels into the ground that little bit more and you're going to have to fight to hold that stick steady as we press. Cool? So if you're working with this variation, we're going to be working a set of 8 on one side, then a set of 8 on the other side. Cool? So you work 8 in this position, then turn it around to the other side. Cool? So floor press, basic for beginners. Then for our more advanced or our regular members, bring in the stick, bring the bag nice and close. And for those that want the real challenge, then of course push that bag further out onto the end of the stick, and that'll make it a lot more challenging in terms of that exercise. Cool? Guys, remember 10, just normal press, then 8 if we're doing our stick press, 8 on one side, 8 on the other, and same if we're pushing that away. Last exercise in the set, we're working for 20 reps. I'll move these out of the way, just so I've got a little bit of room. So I'll just put these over to the side. Set yourself up in the high plank position. From here, bracing nice and strong, we're going to bring the knee through towards the elbow as I go. Beginners, if you do struggle with this one, work from the knees, but keep those hips nice and tight. Otherwise, stay nice and tall, bring the elbow through without moving or twisting the body as we go. Alternate those feet for 10 per side, 20 total. So 4 rounds is what we want with this strength set, guys. We've got our deadlift combo, or I should say sumo deadlift, set of 15 for our beginners. Deadlift combo, 2 hands, 1 hand for our regular members. Then we've got our good old floor press. You've got your 10 beginner, 2 hand, 8 on one side, 8 on the other for our normal members and advanced members. And then last of all, knees to elbow, working a set of 10 per side or 20 total. Cool? All right, after that, we will do our conditioning set. For our conditioning set, we're going to be working with a nice little exercise called the burpee deconstruct. Basically, we're going to be taking the burpee and we're going to be doing a burpee, but also doing a broken down version of the burpee as part of this set. So basically, we've got 4 exercises that we're going to be doing. This is going to be timed, and this is a ladder set. Everything starts at 3, and we're basically increasing the number of our reps per round that we do. So it'll start out 3s of everything for our first exercise, then 4s, 5s, and so on. Beginners, we're working for 8 minutes, and of course our regular members, we're working for 12 minutes today. So I'm going to go over our exercises and how it's going to work. Now guys, first up is the good old burpee. When we're doing our burpees, we want to make sure that our chest touches the ground, that we leave the ground with the jump, and we achieve nice full hip extension at the top with the hands above the ears. They don't have to clap, they don't have to go a mile in the air, they just need to be above the ears at the top. Basically working good old Spartan regulation burpees with this. So guys, working our burpees, of course, the way that looks, we go down to the ground, chest touches, we jump, don't have to be a mile in the air, we just got to leave the ground. But full hip extension, hands above the head, working for 3 reps to begin with. 1, 2, and 3. For those that do struggle with their burpees, slow it down a little bit. If you need to, walk it out, control it down to the ground, walk it back, then add that little jump at the top. If you have issues with jumping, just stand up, placing the hands above the head. So a nice real regressed beginner version would be down, control, ease it down, walk it back up, hands up in the air. Cool? Guys, you'll still do 3. 3 burpees to begin with. Then we move down into that bottom position. So we've got 3 push-ups to do. For our beginners, use your chair. So remember, when we're doing chair push-ups, we can use the back of the chair, holding the hips nice and steady, chest touches the top. We can turn that chair around using the armrests. Once again, nice tall body posture so we're not sagging through the hips, or we can use the seat. For those that can do their push-ups on the ground, we're working from the ground, but no knees today. If you can't do your push-ups without knees, use your chair please, because you're going to be doing quite a few push-ups in this set, and I want to build some strength in the position of our push-up. Cool? So, push-ups, we've got a set of 3, setting up on the ground, nice and tall, chest to ground touches, nice and steady, working for a set of 3 reps to begin with. Once we've done our 3 push-ups, then we move into what we call the plank to stand. So basically, you'll finish those 3 reps, hold that high plank position, from there step in, stand up tall. Reaching back down into basically a frog squat, kicking out, walking back, stand up tall. Kick out, walk back, stand up tall. See how all this is kind of starting to make sense? Push up is part of our burpee. Walking or moving from that bottom position to the top position, that's also part of our burpee too. So we're kind of just breaking it down into its fundamental elements. Cool? Last of all, of course, in this set is a vertical jump. So like we did off the start, we reach tall in the air, throw the arms back, spring nice and tall. As I land, absorb and bend your knees. Cool? So as I jump, I don't want to go and place all that load into my ankles and knees. I want to absorb. Nice and tall, drop, spring, stand up tall, reach. So we're resetting each time. Nice and tall, absorb. Don't go too fast so you can get into the rhythm of this. As you kind of saw then, I tried to speed it up and I lost my rhythm. So, tall, arms go back, spring, absorb, reset. Tall, reset. Tall, drop. So then we've got that drop in there each time. Cool, you'll only do 3 on the first round. Once you finish that, it's basically back into the start again. You'll do 3 burpees, or you'll do 4 going into the second round. 4 burpees, 4 push-ups, plank to stand for 4, and our vertical jumps for 4. So just so you get a good, nice view of this, I'll do one round, do the first round of all the exercises so you can see how it works. Cool? So 3 burpees to begin with. We drop down, spring in the air, 2 and 3. Cool, then it's push-ups. Push-ups, 1, 2, and 3, which takes us into our plank to stand. 1, 2, and 3. Then last of all, springs. Reset. Whoop. 2. Reach up. 3. Always bending those knees as we land. Then of course it'd be 4s of everything. Then 5s of everything. Working for 8 minutes for our beginners, and of course 12 for our normal members. Guys, let us know what rep count you guys get to, and of course whether you do the 8 or the 12. Cool? See how you go with that one. To round out our program, we'll have a little stretch as a cool down. So find somewhere, you can use the back of the chair, you can use a wall or a door frame, but just holding on to something so we don't tip over. We're gonna basically grab that foot and pull the heel in towards the butt. Nice tall posture, give that butt a squeeze, and we're stretching out those hip flexors and quads just a little bit for 30 seconds, working that one side. Try and regulate that breathing. No doubt the breathing will be up there and the heart rate from that last set. So we want to try to slow things down and relax in through the nose, out through the mouth. Once we do 30 seconds on one side, just changing it up, grabbing the foot once again, same side, left hand to left butt or left foot, pulling that in right to right. Nice tall posture as I go. 30 seconds on both sides before we then move into a little bit of calf stretching. So placing the ball of the foot on the door frame or the upright, and then of course we can pull the body forwards, keep the heel on the ground, holding there for 30 seconds, staying tall, regulating that breathing, then moving to the other side, planting that foot, pulling the body forwards, getting that nice strong stretch in, and also trying to just get that heart rate to settle down a little bit. Once we've finished there, folks, we're going to move down to the ground, taking a seat, kicking those legs out nice and wide. From there, we're just going to lean into the front, basically trying to get the elbows as close to the ground as possible, and our chest too. Try and keep the feet, don't let the feet turn forwards, try to keep them up, facing basically the ceiling. Toes up, leaning in, holding for 30 seconds. Then leaning over to the side, trying to get the chest down towards the knee. If you can grab the toes, pull them back. Get a bit of calf stretch in there as well as I try to get that chest down. 30-second hold. You want that same arm, same foot. Then reach the other arm over the top. Keep the elbow high. Basically leaning, nice big lateral bend. Trying to get that hand down to touch that other hand. Keeping the elbow high the whole time. 30 seconds again before we move to the other side. Pulling the body forwards, chest towards the knee, holding nice and steadily. Pull those toes back if you can. Once again, same side. This case, it's left hand to left foot. Then grab the right arm over the top, trying to laterally bend, trying to get that hand down to meet the other hand, keeping the elbow, this one pointed towards the ceiling. Don't forget to breathe, of course. 30 seconds before we move back into that front position. Guys, reaching up tall, taking a breath in, then reaching as far forward as you can. Reaching in, breathe out as you reach. Once we get those hands out there, we've held for 30 seconds. Take another breath in. Breathe out as you drive those elbows down towards the ground. Holding for another 30 seconds. Ooh, should be feeling it around about now. Nice and relaxing. Then guys, we're going to move into the top of the push-up. Last little stretch to finish it out. Top of the push-up, slide the leg through on the side. Then we're going to sink down, breathing out as we drop down onto that leg at the front. Trying to keep the hips square to the floor, so we're not just sitting over to one side. We want to try to keep the hips nice and square, pushing down towards the ground. Nice deep breathing. 30 seconds before we change it out. Swap the legs over. Dropping down once again. Relaxing into that stretch. 30 seconds both sides. Then we'll make our way up to our feet. Woo! I hope you guys have had a great session today. Of course, look out for our other programs that'll be coming at you over the next few days as well. Anyway, guys, until Saturday when we'll do our boot camp, I'll see you then. Have a good one, guys.